Mr. Zazzaloff, I mean, I don't know what more you want me to do, man. No, yeah, I'm homeless. I am living on the streets. Uh-huh. Yes, I got rid of Shark Tale 2. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars again as a response, which that's a crazy thing to have happened in response to Shark Tale 2, but it's what happened. I don't know what more you want me to do, right? I want to get this Justice League Dark sequel made, alright? It's a sequel, people love those. I know Blue Beetle flopped, alright? I get it. The DC movies are not doing great. Understand. Are you sure, sir? No, I mean, I know Hunger Games did it, and Harry Potter, yeah, and Twilight, yeah, those all have one thing in common. You want me to divide the second act into two parts and release them separately? I mean, if that's what you want, Mr. Zaffel, that's what's going to save us money. Yeah, we'll do that. All right. Yeah, that's going to happen. Yes, I'm living in a cardboard box in the streets. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye. Dude, that's Hasselhoff's guy. I mean, what's his deal? How do you say his name right? I don't know. I'm living homeless on the streets now, not a green screen. We're really homeless. And I guess now I'm dividing the second act into two parts. We've never done that before. So, I guess here's part one.
We're gonna open on Dorothy inside the Shadow Realm. She's in her room, staring at Dr. Mist's head. He looks up at her. She asks, "How did you get like this?" Dr. Mist says, "It's not a very interesting story." Dorothy says, "Tell me anyway." Dr. Mist says, "Fine. A long time ago, I used to be a king. I ruled an African kingdom called Kor. I wasn't a good king in those days, more like a tyrant, cruel and vain. One night, a great flash of light split the sky above my kingdom, and a strange mist cloud fell upon the lands north of my city. I may have been vain, but I was no coward. I rode to investigate myself, and as I stepped into those glowing mists, I found nothing. I fought to escape them until I was finally free. I returned home and found that I'd been inside that mist for over 10 years. My own people had long thought me dead. And from that day on, I did not age. I could not be harmed or die. I was immortal, truly immortal. Something in that mist changed me." "Aren't you curious about what it was?" Dorothy asks. "I was for a time. I could find nothing, nothing at all. It was like it had never happened to anyone else before or after me. I could find no record of the mist ever appearing to anyone else. I don't know what it was, and I don't think I ever will. All I know is that something in that mist made me a better man. It changed my outlook on life." Dorothy says, "Maybe we should look again, when we get back. I think it sounds like a fun mystery to solve." Dr. Mist smiles fondly. "If you say so. But I don't think there's an answer to that mystery, Dorothy. Some things are just unknowable." Dorothy says, "That stinks, though." Dr. Mist laughs. He says, "It does. But we have more important things to worry about. The thing that rules this place will notice that I am gone. He often gloats to me. It will come here looking for me." Dorothy asks, "What do I do? I don't know how to handle him. It thinks I'm its friend and God. I don't know how to be that someone it thinks I am." Dr. Mist says, "That is to our advantage. We're going to tell him what he wants to hear. Here's what you'll do." We're going to cut to a large mansion. We see Mirror Master exit from a still pool of water in a koi pond. He's in a fancy garden with a large mansion overlooking it. Quickly, Constantine, Zatanna, and Flatline follow him out from the mirror dimension. Mirror Master turns to Constantine and Zatanna. "You two say nothing. This is going to be delicate. It's personal between him and your other selves. Only talk if I tell you to, or if he asks you a question directly. Don't try anything clever either. I promise. He's smarter than either of you." Constantine says, "Whatever you say, mate." We see them walk up to the front doors of the mansion. Mirror Master knocks on the door. We can hear the knocking echoing through the largely empty building. Eventually, we hear a pair of footsteps approaching the door. The doors open up to reveal Lex Luthor. He has a large scar running down part of his face, much like Flatline, and he's missing half of his left ear. Mirror Master says, Lex? Lex Luthor says, Sam, why are you here? Mirror Master says, you know I wouldn't bother you unless it was important. Something's changed, Lex. Something big. Lex Luthor says, and what's that? Mirror Master says, I found a way to kill the Legion of Doom. Lex says, I've been down that road one too many times. Mirror Master says, just hear me out, for old time's sake. Lex Luthor sighs. Fine. Just for old time's sake. What do you have? Mirror Master steps aside and lets Lex Luthor see Constantine and Zatanna. Lex immediately reaches into his suit and pulls out a pistol. Lex says, what the fuck is she doing here? Mirror Master quickly pushes the gun aside. It's not what you think. Look at who she's with. Lex's eyes narrow on Constantine. How? No, it's a trick. One of her spells. Mirror Master says, Lex, it's no spell. They're not from our world. She's not our Zatanna. Lex looks confused. Multiverses. Fine, come in. They all walk into the building. Flatline looks at the side, where we see Chemo's ghost floating. Flatline says, this is going to end badly. Chemo says, can't be worse than last time. Flatline snorts. That's probably true. We're gonna hard cut to all of them sitting at a table. We can see the Justice League symbol carved into it. They're in a proto-version of the Hall of Justice. Lex Luthor says, it's a hard pill to swallow. How could you possibly trust this, Sam? Last time we followed them, half of us wound up dead. Mirror Master says, this isn't like last time. You're the smartest guy I know, Lex. I need you for this. With what they know, you can do it. I know you can. Lex Luthor's eyes shift to Flatline. Do you agree with him on this? Do you trust them? Flatline says, I don't know if I trust them, but I think they're telling the truth. If this Zatanna was trying to trick us, she wouldn't have made this John such an asshole. She would have made him more like a Trojan horse. Constantine says, that's rude. Flatline says, so what? It's true. Lex Luthor says, so tell me, since you two fought alongside them in your world, how do we kill the Legion of Doom here? Zatanna says, from what Mirror Masters told me, your lineup is a little different than mine, but the idea is the same. For the Kryptonium, you'll need... Lex Luthor cuts her off. Kryptonite, I know. Zatanna says, right. Cyborg is pretty easy. He's weak to EMPs. They won't take him down permanently, but they can put his biotech into a shutdown phase. It'll take him about a minute to reboot and get back online. That's your window to kill him. Lex Luthor says, we've tried EMPs on him before. Didn't work. Zatanna says, it has to be point blank. He's going to be near the center of the detonation. He's got to be near the center of the detonation. Lex Luthor says, right. What about the lantern? Zatanna says, beating the Green Lantern is easy. His weakness is the color yellow. Everyone falls silent. Even Constantine looks at her funny. Are you fucking serious? Zatanna says, yes, the color yellow is tied to fear and the yellow rings. Even being near one drains the power of a green ring. Lex says, the color yellow. How did we never figure that out? Flatline shrugs. Don't look at me. He wasn't one of mine. Zatanna says, luckily for you, you don't seem to have a flash anymore. To be honest, I don't think that guy can be killed. You have a Martian Manhunter. All you need for him is fire. Martians are weak to it. It can destroy him easily. You mentioned Aquaman. He's pretty powerful. I've got nothing for him. Lex Luthor says, Aquaman vanished into the Atlantic about 4 months ago. No one's seen him since. My guess is he's decided to give up on the surface world. I don't think we need a plan for Nightwing either. He's only human after all. Flatline says, I'll take him. I owe him a blood debt. It's about time I collect. Mirror Master says, right. We have to address Black Canary as well. It could present a problem. She's been on the warpath since Flatline killed Green Arrow, trying to turn over every loose stone until she finds us. She's out for blood. Zatanna says, as far as I know, she doesn't have any obvious weakness. Lex Luthor says, I can help there. I actually have something that might just help us dispatch her. Zatanna says, perfect. I think that's about it. Killing them won't be easy, but I think it's possible. Lex Luthor says, you are forgetting one. Our Zatanna, your opposite. Zatanna says, I didn't forget about her. Leave her to me and John. The only way to stop a magician of her skill is another. We'll take her down. We both have experience dealing with rogue mages. Mirror Master says, not to keep harping on, but we have another problem. Kryptonite. We'll need it if we want to take down Supergirl. Lex says, actually, I'm ahead of you on that. Follow me. He leads the group through the building into a lab. There he picks up a small scalpel from a table. He flips it up into the air and catches it by the blade. He leads them into a large metal door. He punches in a code and the door hisses open. Inside, we see Firestorm chained to a wall. Strange orange and green lights are affixed to the ceiling, alternating in flashing color. We can hear the humming of some sort of machinery. Lex tosses the knife to Firestorm. He says, Kryptonite. Firestorm looks up with hate in his eyes. Lex presses a button and we can see Firestorm get electrocuted. He falls back to his knees. Lex slowly lowers the lights in the room. The flashing ceases. Firestorm squeezes his hands over the small knife, and we see a flash of his power. He tosses the knife across the floor in front of Lex. It's now made of kryptonite. He picks it up and smiles. He slides the lights back on, and then presses a button, shutting the door. Lex says, here's your kryptonite. Flatline says, that was Firestorm. How the fuck did you catch him? Lex says, I haven't just been sitting around doing nothing, Nakia. I've been preparing. Firestorm was arrogant. He underestimated me and he fell right into my trap. He's mine now. Mirror Master says, you keep him in a cell like that. It's inhumane. It's not like you, Lex. We're better than that. Lex says, I am what they made me, Sam. I play by their rules now. If we're going to do this, we're going to need some help. Mirror Master says, I know. I think it's time we call the Justice League out of retirement. We're gonna cut to the prison cell in Gorilla City. We see Detective Chimp having just walked up with his bloody sword, and we pick up right where we left off. Shade looks up skeptically at Detective Chimp. How do we know this isn't a trap? Detective Chimp says, believe me, I have no loyalties to Garad. These people are animals. Literally. I won't see the last of the humans executed. I'm going to get you out. But you have to follow me. Xanadu looks at him and then says, he speaks the truth. Shade says, you're kidding. Detective Chimp opens their cell door with a key. Detective Chimp says, question me all you want later. It's now or never. We see the Justice League Dark get up and follow him. They recover their stolen equipment from a lockup near the cell door. We can see that even Element Woman is tagging along behind them. They begin to move through the prison. We can see other apes locked in cells. Some look out with sadness. Others make loud noises or cry for help. The Justice League Dark turns a corner following Detective Chimp and comes face to face with 3 armed gorilla prison guards. Detective Chimp looks terrified. These are the Royal Guards! Shit! The guards see them and smile sinisterly, showing their large gorilla teeth. They say, Rod told me someone would try something like this. He said to be on guard. It seems fitting it's you, Detective. You always were a filthy human lover, zoo monkey. You ought to know your place. The other apes behind him cackle with laughter. Xanadu steps forward. I don't suppose there's anything I can do to make you stand down. The guard says, no one gave you permission to speak, human. Xanadu says, I'll take that as a no. My magic may be weak here, but it can kill you all the same. Just remember I gave you a way out. The gorilla guard says, "Seize them!" We hear Brass Monkey by the Beastie Boys begin to play. Two apes lift their machine guns to fire. Helmet Woman slams her foot into the ground, and a large stone pillar rises between the two apes. She flicks her wrists out, and sharpened stone beams grow out of the sides of it, like a T. They impale the apes through their skull. Their bodies spasm as blood runs down the side of their face. 3 more apes rush in, and they're greeted by Grodd. Grodd says, "You failed me." The guards look confused. "No, Lord, we..." Suddenly Shade bursts through Grodd, an illusion cast by the Madness Vest. His hands glow with color, and he throws 2 discs that slice the 2 guards in half. Blood sprays across Shade's body. The last guard tries to punch Shade, but he dodges by bouncing off the wall, pulling Katana's sword out. He impales it into the gorilla's chest. We can see a ghastly blue soul being pulled from the ape's body into the sword. Shade pulls the katana free, and it drips with blood. Detective Chimp says, "Magic sword. I've got one of those too." He lightly holds up his own sword, then swings it, taking the head off of an ape attacking from behind. Its body turns to dark ash. 2 chimpanzees turn the corner and start firing their machine gun. The Madness Vest forms a shield and blocks some of the bullets. Element Woman twitches her hand. The blood from the ape's Shade killed earlier moves up and forms into blades. They split the 2 chimpanzees right down the middle. Element Woman holds her hand to her head. That took effort. Finally, we see one giant guard. He's a giant gorilla marked with Grodd's own personal seal. It's burned into his chest. This is Grodd's personal guard. He lets out a roar and begins to gallop towards the group. Xanadu forms rooms in the air quickly with her fingers. She focuses, and the ape's head explodes. Its body falls right into the ground in a heap in front of her. The song Brass Monkey stops as we get a look at the bloodbath. Detective Chimp says, "This is not good. The whole city will be looking for us now. We gotta move quickly before someone finds these bodies." We're gonna cut to the Justice League Dark following Detective Chimp through a jungle. We can see the city rising behind them in the distance. Finally, they reach a large building, covered in thick jungle foliage. We can see the Star Labs logo attached to the side of the building. Detective Chimp makes his way to its large door and knocks. It quickly opens, and we see another ape, and a large robot with a human brain floating in a jar on top. Mala says, "You're late. We were worried you'd been caught." Detective Chimp says, "There was a holdup. It didn't go as smoothly as I hoped." Shade looks untrustworthy at this new pair, always skeptical. Detective Chimp says, "These 2 are uniquely sympathetic to the human cause. Seems to be just me and them left who still remember the good humans used to do." The brain says, "I might not look like it now, but I was once human too," in like a robotic voice. Mala says, "They would have killed him if they'd found him. Rod is wrong about mankind. I would not like to see him kill anymore." "We will help you escape from this world." We see them moving through the empty halls of Star Labs. Brain says, "The Ape Revolution destroyed much here. This was the birthplace of Grodd, the place where he was experimented upon. They wreaked havoc on it in retaliation." Mala says, "We repaired what we could, one by one, trying to get the marvels of science back to what they once were." Brain says, "The device that can help you is one of our more recent repairs. It was a project Professor Cutler was working on before he was killed by the revolt. It is a gateway to another world. Any world, specifically." They enter a large chest chamber. Fitted in the center of the room, we can see a large metal circular gateway. It's a portal machine from Suicide Squad 3. The same one Calculator made. The brain says, "It will take a couple of hours for us to get this machine booted up and calibrated. 4 hours, maybe." Xanadu says, "We can wait." We're gonna cut to Dorothy's room. We see Dorothy staring at her teddy bear. She says, "Wake up. I need you. Come back." Again, nothing happens. Suddenly, the door is burst open, and we see Upside Down Man standing there surrounded by shadows. They linger off him like tentacles, searching around the room. He looks enraged. "Did you think I wouldn't notice that you took Dr. Mist's head?
You're still caught up in your foolish loyalties, just like the life I remember. I have to do now what I should have done then. These humans have to be exterminated.
Dorothy turns her eyes towards Mist's head. He gives her a slight nod, telling her she can do it. Dorothy stands up straight. You misunderstood me. I care for these things I created. But it's more like he's my pet. A little thing I keep around. They're insects beneath me, and I am fond of them. Upside Down Man's rage quickly turns to surprise as he listens to Dorothy's rehearsed lines. Then, his face turns to jubilation. He says, I see. You truly have remembered yourself. A pet. Yes. I keep one myself, although it's not a human. These things are far too disgusting for me. Still, I understand the sentiment. Dorothy says, after some meditation, I have remembered who I was. I can see that my old self was an idiot. She wasn't grateful for what she had. I want things to go back to the way they were. Forget about the humans. They're beneath us gods. Upside Down Man's smile grows even larger. It's crescent and upside down, almost looking like he's displeased, but it's clear that he's not. He says, yes, finally you understand. Dorothy says, there's one thing I want from you. Upside Down Man says, simply speak it, my light. Dorothy says, I want you to fix my pet. You broke him, and I don't like broken things. I like beautiful things, and this wasn't part of our game. Upside Down Man says, oh, is that all? He holds his hands out, and the living shadow begins to coalesce in it. Slowly, its tendrils begin to grow back into the hall beyond, and after a moment, it begins to bring bloody body pieces. They bind together to make Mist's body, placing him together piece by piece. Then the living shadow snatches his head and places it on top of the body. We can see the seams of the body begin to heal, as Mist takes a deep breath and falls to his knees. Dorothy looks surprised. Her plan actually worked. She was able to manipulate this thing. She says, thank you. Now you leave me. I have to create things. Tonight, I'll let you destroy them. Just like how it used to be. Upside Down Man is extremely giddy with excitement. He literally can't contain his smile. He excitedly speaks like a child. Perfect! I'll look forward to it, and I'll prepare something truly dreadful. It'll be so impressed. You'll be so impressed, just like the old times. He quickly leaves the room, having the living shadow shut the door behind him, and Dorothy falls to her knees, breathing heavily. She says, oh, I'm gonna be sick. That was the scariest thing I've ever done. Dr. Mist says, still looking at his new body, you did well, Dorothy. Very well. Dorothy says, Mist, we can't stay here. He's gonna see right through me. I'm not who he thinks I am, and when he figures that out, we'll die. Dr. Mist says, we're going to get out of here. You just need to keep him happy and distracted for a few more days. I have a plan. When I was in his room, I saw something useful. Something that can get us out. We're gonna cut to Lex Luthor's mansion. We see Constantine and Zatanna inside a nice, well-decorated room. Constantine says, I don't like it. They left us with this Lex Luthor to go recruit people. Zatanna said, they're going to recruit someone and he wants to keep an eye on us. He doesn't trust us yet. It's not a big deal. Constantine says, I get that, but I don't have to like it. They didn't even tell us where they were going. Zatanna says, to recruit another member. Constantine says, yeah, I got that, but where? We don't know, and I don't think we can trust this guy. Zatanna says, John, there's more important things at play. We haven't talked yet. Constantine says, about what? Zatanna says, don't play dumb. About the spear. About what you did. Constantine says, there's nothing to cock about. I made my choice and I'd bloody well do it again. Zatanna says, that's what frightens me, John. John says, everyone in my life just left me in one way or another. My parents died. It wasn't their fault. But still, Nicky left me when I wasn't of use to him anymore. It was probably for the best, but it hurt. The point is, Z, everyone in my life has left me except for you. It was me who left you. I didn't see it then, but I do now. You wouldn't have left me ever. You're not like that. So when I saw that knife go into your throat, I didn't think twice. Not her. I won't lose you too. It was probably selfish, but I'm bloody tired of taking one for the team. Feels like I've been doing it too much. Zatanna says, John, you know what was at stake. I don't want to be the thing that stands in the way of saving the world. I love you. I always have. And I know you feel the same, but I don't want you saving me if it risks everything. John says, if it were me, Z, who got killed like that, would you have done the same thing? Zatanna shakes her head. I don't know, John. I'd like to think I wouldn't. You know how much I care for you, but there are greater things than us. Xanity's visions show disaster, the end of everything. She thinks it can be stopped, and we can't let ourselves be the thing that stands in the way of that. John says, to tell you the truth, Z, I don't give a bloody fuck about the world. It didn't do anything for me. You did. I think I've got my priorities in perfect order. I'll save the world, but not if I lose you. I can't do that. Zatanna says, sometimes life doesn't give us choices, John. John says, why are you talking like this? Like you're going to die. Zatanna says, I don't know what we're up against. I'm just preparing for the worst. John says, come here. He pulls her into a hug. He whispers, it's gonna be alright, Z. It always is. We're two tough bastards. If the end of the bloody world thinks it's got an easy fight, it'll get a good kick in the ass. Hell spat me out once, and it'll do it again. We're gonna cut to Flatline and Mirror Master standing in the middle of a shopping center. They both look up. Mirror Master says, he's hardly subtle. Flatline says, he never has been. I think you should wait out here at first. Let me break the ice. He always liked me better. The camera pans around, and we get the reveal of a store. It says Sportsmaster's Sporting Goods. Mirror Master says, fine by me. Flatline enters the store. She approaches the front counter where we see Sportsmaster doing inventory and counting cash. Flatline says, don't you think the name is a little on the nose? Sportsmaster smiles broadly when he sees her. I figure it's like hiding in plain sight. Why would they even check? I'd be stupid to set up here. It's good to see you, Nakia. Flatline says, likewise. It's been too long. Sportsmaster says, I was sorry when I heard about Matthew. I didn't know where to find you to send my condolences. I know what he meant to you. Flatline says, yeah, we knew the risk we were taking, but I'm going to pay them back for what they did to him. I promise you that. Sportsmaster says, yeah, kid. I wish that helped. It doesn't. Trust me. I know from first-hand experience. Don't count on it. Flatline's eyes shift around, looking for any way to change the subject. They fall onto a picture of a teenage girl holding a bow and a trophy. Flatline says, is that Artemis? Sportsmaster says, sure is. State champ, can you believe that? Flatline says, chip off the old block, huh? Sportsmaster says, God, I hope not. Think of how much trouble she'll be. Flatline says, I can imagine. Suddenly, Mirror Master enters the store, ringing the bell. Sportsmaster looks up and notices him, and then sighs. So this isn't just a visit for an old friend. Flatline shakes her head. No, I'm afraid not. Sportsmaster says, oh, well. Mirror Master, been a minute. Mirror Master says, it has. Sportsmaster says, so what is it you two really want? Flatline says, you. We want you to come back. Sportsmaster says, why? I'm out, Nakia. I got free. Mirror Master says, we know. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't something important. Something's changed, Croc. Something big. Sportsmaster says, you're going after the Legion again. Mirror Master says, we are, but it's different this time. We got their weaknesses. We know how to get rid of them now. Sportsmaster says, it's always different, Sam. I can't help you. Not with this. Flatline says, don't you want revenge after what they took from you? Sportsmaster says, I went down that road once already. I've seen where it ends. Trust me, you're not going to find what you're looking for there. I've got a really good thing going here. I've got a kid. I can't do the superhero thing anymore. I'd put her in too much danger. I'm sorry, Nakia, but I can't do this. Flatline says, so am I. but I understand. Good luck. I'll be rooting for you. Flatland says, we're not gonna need it. She turns to leave. The sportsmaster stops her. Hey, just one more thing. The lantern. What was his weakness? Flatline smiles. She turns. You're not gonna fucking believe this. It was the color yellow. Literally, the color. Sportsmaster laughs. Oh shit. No wonder he always hated tennis balls. I always just thought he was fucking with me. Flatland says, nah, it actually hurts him. I'm just wondering how he takes a piss. Sister starts laughing again. Painfully, I'd guess. We're gonna cut back to Star Labs. We see Element Woman in shade, sitting inside of the large super collider. It's abandoned and fallen to disrepair. You can see vines growing inside of it. Suddenly, Element Woman goes into a fit. She begins to spasm and says, he knows, he's coming, too late, he's coming, he'll end it all. Suddenly, we see Shade's madness vest drape over her shoulders. Its shapes begin to move, and her eyes become sane again. She looks at him with tears in her eyes. Shade grabs her shoulders and starts to shake sense into her. He says, you're gonna be alright. Element Woman says, it's been so long. I can see clearly. That shadow that follows me, I don't see it anymore. She pulls Shade in and kisses him. Shade looks surprised by the action. Element Woman says, thank you. You should take this back. Shade says, I still have a few moments before my own symptoms come back. You use it. I know what it's like to live without it. I'm amazed you're able to withstand it like you do. Element Woman says, I got used to the eyes from other places always watching me, and that thing I know is always growing closer. After a while, it stops being scary. Shade says, whenever you have a fit, you talk about something that's coming. What is it? Element Woman says, I don't know exactly. I just see fragments of him in my mind. He sits on a throne of stone, commands the shadows like they're alive. Those shadows that watch me, he sends them. He's from some upside-down place, and somehow I know he's coming. Shade says, you're talking about a living shadow. Element Woman says, yes, exactly, that's it. Suddenly, Nightshade's rotting corpse slips into view. She whispers into Shade's ear, you heard her. I'm coming back. You could never escape me. Even Xanadu knew it. Shade says, shut up, you're dead. Nightshade says, am I? The living shadow will consume everything, and we'll be together again. She drags her rotting nails across his face, leaving bloody scratches. You started all of this. You knew what you did. It was you. You're going to be the cause of all their deaths, and I'll... Suddenly the madness vest slips back over his shoulders, and Nightshade vanishes. The cuts on his face vanish too. Element Woman says, I think you need this more than I do. You were changing. For a second there, you took the form of my father. Shade says, sorry. When the vest leaves me, I have no control over the illusions, yet they linger for some time. Element Woman says, we got dealt a bad hand, huh? Shade says, I suppose so. Element Woman says, I used to hate my life. I didn't want the power I was born with. I hated the whispering in the eyes. Now I find them almost comfortable, like an old friend. It's strange, I know. Shade says, no, I get it. Element Woman says, you're the first person who ever told me that I believed. Xanadu enters the room. It's time. We're going to cut to the portal room. We can see wires now running to the portal. It's sparking with electricity. The brain and Mala move from control station to control station. They flip switches and change inputs. The brain says, we lost all of the Elseworld mapping when the apes took over, so it's going to be a blind jump. We can't say what sort of world you'll find on the other end of that portal. We see Shade still covered in the blood of the ape guards. I can't imagine it'll be much more inhospitable for humans than this world. The brain looks at him. You'd be surprised. Detective Chimp says, they won't survive this world long. Grodd's out for blood. They'll have all of New Gorilla City looking for them. Xanadu says, he's right. We don't have a choice. We'll have to take the chance. We'll make the blind jump. The brain says, very well. Mala, throw the switch. We see the gorilla walk to a large metal switch. The computer in front of him begins to light up after he throws it. We can hear humming from the metal portal construct. Mala says, jump coordinates coming in. 7, 3, 4, 10, 9, 7, 6. The brain says, a portal sequence is locked. Portal stabilizing. We see the portal open. It flickers momentarily, then stabilizes vertical. The brain says, I don't know how long it'll stay open. This technology was always faulty. You have to make the jump. Xanadu jumps into the portal without hesitation. She's followed by Element Woman. Shade jumps in next, leaving only Detective Chimp behind. He turns to Mala and the brain. Are you two going to be alright? Mala says, We were okay before you found us, Boba. We'll be fine after. Go. Find your freedom. Find the humans. Detective Chimp says, thank you. Mala says, you're welcome, and good luck. Detective Chimp, sword in hand, nervously steps through the portal. We see a flash of light, then he's face first in the desert. He looks up, and we see the very top of the Daily Planet sticking out of the sand. We can see a couple of its broken window panes above the sand. We see Xanadu take a step towards the Daily Planet, and we hear a crunch. She looks down, and we see a human skull. Detective Chimp looks around him, and we can see skulls everywhere. He says, shit, skulls everywhere. Xanadu carefully bends down and picks up a cracked skull. She mumbles an incantation to herself, and her eyes go white. We are plummeted into a vision. We hear disembodied voices. Madness, madness. I'm infected. I can feel it. It's funny, isn't it? I'm going to lose my mind. Laughter begins to echo around her. Makes me laugh. She's dropped from the darkness into a filthy warehouse. We can see lots of Joker paraphernalia all around the walls, graffiti of a ha 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 written all around. We can hear the Joker's laughter echoing through the building. The sounds of footsteps echo too. The Batman emerges from the shadows. He's wearing some sort of gas mask over his mask. His eyes are furious. Joker dances into view. He laughs again. Batman says, Joker, what did you do? I'm going to try my best to do my Batman and Joker impersonations the whole time. The Joker says, isn't it great, Batman? I didn't know why I didn't think of it sooner. One kidnapped scientist is all it took. Who knew it was so easy? He breaks down into laughter again. Batman picks him up by his collar and throws him into a wall. What did you do? Joker says, I made a disease, Batman. I took the flu and I altered it. I made it more viral so it spreads like a really, really funny joke. Batman says, what does it do to people? The Joker says, it attacks the brain. Rewires it. He breaks down into laughter again, then continues through the laughter. It makes you insane. Really batshit. And soon, everyone will be just as crazy as me. Batman holds his hand to his head, and we see flashes of madness in his eyes. He's infected. Batman says, do you know what you've done? The Joker says, of course I do. I always do. It's getting to you, isn't it? Just you wait, Batman. You're gonna love it. Everyone is. We see flashes of the world going crazy. People fighting and killing each other in the streets, blood running from them. Nuclear bombs explode, cities reduced to deserts. Roving gangs of madmen in Mad Max-esque outfits. We see a young woman running through the sand. A truck in spikes bearing a lightning bolt symbol runs her down. We see her broken body fall to the ground. We see a time-lapse of it rotting until it turns to a skeleton. That very skull Madame Xanadu is holding. This is a DC universe turned insane. So yeah, when I promised the multiverse of madness, I meant that literally. I don't know why you guys didn't pick up on that, but I was literal. Xanadu is thrown from her vision. She's back in the sandy desert that was once Metropolis. The skull still clutched in her hands. She lets it fall to the sand where it joins several others. She says, oh gods. We hear a voice. You. Are you sane? The entire voice looks up, and we see a man in a tattered cloak and hood. Beneath it, we can see the outlines of a blue outfit. Xanadu says, we aren't from around here, though. The cloaked man says, I got that. I watched you just appear. Magic, I guess. I've seen something like it before. You better come with me, quickly, before someone spots us. Shade looks to Xanadu. Xanadu shakes her head. We follow him. Shade nods. Detective Chimp says, what's going on here? Looks at the talking monkey, does a double take, and then just shrugs. He's used to stuff like this. He says, madness, talking monkey. It's taken most of us. I lead what remains. Only those lucky enough to be immune to the virus. Sandy says, I see. And just who are you? The man pulls back his hood to reveal his face. He's an older man, maybe 60, with an unkempt white beard and graying hair. The cloaked man says, My name's Ted Cord. I used to be something of a superhero. Maybe you've heard of me. I was the Blue Beetle. They all look back and forth at each other. They shake their heads. Sanity says, No, I haven't. I'm sorry. Ted Cord says, Oh, don't worry about it. I wasn't on any of the major teams. I mostly flew under the radar. Literally sometimes. He laughs to himself as if he said something funny. The group approaches the back of the Daily Planet. Ted clicks on a metal sheet and pulls it away, revealing a passageway. We can see they've dug the sand out of the inside of the Daily Planet. It's now a hollow secret base buried beneath the sand. Ted Cord says, We'll be safe here. The maniacs that rule the surface don't like going underground, nor do they know we're here. They enter that sandy Daily Planet one by one, and then the camera pulls back. We see a single scout laying flat against the sandy dune. He's got a pair of binoculars. He licks his lips as he watches them enter the building. He begins to run down the side of the dune. We can see a lightning bolt symbol on his breastplate, on a breastplate made of trash. He reaches his motorcycle, which is rusted and clunky, and zooms off into the desert. We follow him as he rides through endless sandless dunes. We see some ruins of buildings occasionally rising from the sand. The score picks up in its intensity and a metallic sort of sound as he approaches a shanty tent town. He parks the motorcycle and then moves through the town. We can see more Thunderbolt symbols everywhere. Crazy men dressed in ridiculous outfits fill the camp. We can see them working on cars. They have some sort of Tesla coils sticking out of their sides. Each of them are covered in spikes or improvised armor plating. The scout approaches the largest tent near the back of the city. It's huge. 2 guards stop him at the door. The scout says, I need to see the king. The guard says, He isn't seeing anyone. The scout says, He'll want to see me. I found them. Found the Sanies. The guards look at each other, then step aside. The scout enters the tent. The inside is massive and decorated with all sorts of random crap. Tattered banners bearing a lightning bolts hang from the ceiling. At the end of the room is a massive throne made from welded scrap metal. Sitting upon it is the Flash, specifically Kid Flash Wally West. We can see half-naked women fawning over him. Flash looks angry. What's the meaning of this? Why have you entered my tent? The scout falls to his knees. My lord, I have found them. I found the Sanies. The King Flash looks surprised, then excited. What, you're sure? The scout says, I saw them with my own eyes. Ted Cord himself. The King Flash laughs. King Flash says, Good news indeed. Tell everyone, we ride to war and fresh blood for the mines. The scout bows and then runs away with a smile on his face. We see a deep, bloodthirsty smile grow across Flash's face. We see a lightning of the Speed Force begin to build around him. He's ready for war. And that's where we're going to end part 1 of second act. So, yeah. We're doing Mad Max, baby. How about that? I don't think anyone had Mad Max DC on their bingo list. I did. Also, some other stuff is going on. Sportsmaster. Yes, I did that. We're bringing him back. So if y'all enjoy that character from my Suicide Squad shit, that's happening. Alright, I'm going to go into the outro now.
Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Thank you for bearing with me as I divide this into 2 parts. And basically, I realized that this was going to be so long that if I were to combine this into one second act, it would have been like 1 hour and 45 minutes. Frankly, that's too long for one video, so I was just like, divide it in 2 parts. Done. So, thank you for bearing with me through that. Thank you for watching all the way through the video. Let me know what you liked about the episode. What did you hate about the episode? What's going to happen next? Let me know in the comments below. And like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're looking for something else to watch, random crap is appearing all over. Oh my god, it's everywhere. It's everywhere! We're out of control! Alright, I'll see you all in the next one.